and asked, "Hey, can you help us? Where are we?" Hello there, I'm Simon. Welcome to my channel. Gather round, sit you down, and let's hear the tale of the warrior's tree. So about a year ago at this point, I went to Bruges with a couple of friends, and that night we played our first game of Dungeons and Dragons. It was supposed to be a one-shot, but it turned into, let's say, a long shot. That night we played, well, very long, but we didn't finish. So the week after we met up again and we finished the remaining 75% or so. It was a first in many ways. 3 of us had never played before, and the fourth, well, she had played, but she'd never DM'd before. So this was in many ways a first. So this is a story of that first game, to the best of my recollection. It has been almost a year. So let's roll for initiative, because here we go. Our story begins in a forest. Our characters wake up in a forest that we don't know how we got there, why we're there, what we're supposed to be doing, and worst of all of our weapons and equipment are gone. So who are we? First there's a ranger, renowned for his great skills with the greatsword. His name, Artorius Dundragon. Imagine something between Aragorn, son of Arathorn, and Geralt of Rivia. Then there's a little gnome lady called Ella. She is a druid, which means she has a great affinity for nature and animals. And she can also turn into pretty much any animal. Completing this tremendous trio is a little hobbit. He is a bard, and his name is Homer Chouten. This is my character. I didn't dive too deep into his backstory because I figured this is a one-shot. I don't have to go too deep into it. But what I did figure out for myself was that he's a storyteller. He used to be a teacher in a big city. Did that until one day he had to leave because of some sort of a scandal, maybe? I don't know. And then he left to become an adventurer because he knew a lot of stories, he had a lot of knowledge, but he hadn't seen a whole lot. He hadn't done a whole lot for himself. So yeah, our characters wake up in a forest that they don't know how they got there, and all of their equipment and weapons are gone. So they look around a bit and decide to leave the forest. So they go on the way. On the way they also meet a sort of ethereal cat, I guess. I like to compare him to the Cheshire Cat, except he's a lot less helpful. He was mainly just annoying and laughing at people. I hate that cat. There was also an ethereal dog who was more helpful. He did give advice, but he spoke in riddles. So, I don't know. So we left the forest and we looked around and we saw that we were in a sort of valley surrounded by walls of mountain. Basically, it was kind of impossible to leave the valley. So we had to find another way out. We also saw like a river, and on the other side of the river we saw a little hut, a little house. So we went down to the river and we crossed it, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, Ella finds a magic ring. I don't quite remember what it did exactly. I think it might have turned the wearer invisible, but I might be confusing with another magic ring, like the Ring of Gyges. That's a whole other story in itself. So we found a magic ring and we figured this must be very important. So we kept it, we put it away very safely, and we figured we'll see what the meaning of this is. So we went to the little house to see maybe they could help us. So we knocked on the door, and living in that house was apparently a weird old woman, a witch basically. She wasn't very helpful. She couldn't answer any questions properly, but she did have, in her basement, she had a lot of equipment and a lot of weapons, and we just picked out what we needed. And then we left, and I think we decided to go back to the forest, because we hadn't quite seen all of it yet. Maybe there was still something important there. So we went back to the river to cross it, and then we crossed it. Roll for initiative. Because all of a sudden we saw, I think it was three big eagles flying directly toward us. They attacked us, and we fought them. I don't remember the fight scene, but we won. We won. We killed all of the eagles, and as you do, we looted them. And we found, bound around one of the legs of the creatures, we found a letter, or half a letter. I don't remember what it said, but it was ominous. It was very ominous. But we did also see that it was only half of a message, which is frankly weird. So we figured the other half must be somewhere as well. So we went back to the forest, and we found a trail of spiders running away. So we figured, let's follow the spiders. What could possibly go wrong? So we followed them, and we got to like a cave. And then we debated, like, should we go in? Should we wait? Ella and Artorius were very keen on going inside. Homer was not. So Homer tried to talk them out of it. It didn't work. So we went in, and then roll for initiative. Again, we were attacked by one huge spider. I think in the end there were 3 of them, and we had to fight them. I casted light on one of the pillars in the cave, which did give us light, at least. Didn't help that much, other than that. Also, we had to kill a bunch of, like, flocks of little spiders. But we did. We killed every single one of them, and guess what? We found another note. Another half a note. The other half. So we read it. I don't remember what it said, but it was very ominous. However, one of the good things about this was our second fight. So at this point we were honing our fighting skills. We just looked at what we had and tried to make the best of it. However, by the second fight scene, we were figuring out it's best if Artorius just goes in with his greatsword, and me, Homer, stays far enough away from the attackers and just shoots arrow after arrow at them. That kind of became our trademark fighting way. That's the way we did it, because it was effective. Then we left the cave and we traveled back through the forest, and when we came out again, we saw something we hadn't seen before. A village. So we obviously just decided to go there. But when we did, it was weird. The village appeared empty. The village looked abandoned. Like as if people hadn't lived there in quite a while. In the middle of the village was a huge barn, which obviously we ran all around to see, like, is there an entrance? There was no entrance. Weird, right? So we figured we'd just check out every other building in the village. One of them was a bar, and the bar was not abandoned. In the bar was a weird dwarf. I don't remember his name, but he was weird. He didn't know how he got there, why he was there. Didn't seem too troubled about that. I don't know. He seemed to just be there to serve us something to drink, which is cool. I mean, when we left the bar again, we went back to the barn and noticed that now it did have an entrance. Guess what we did? We went in. Inside we found a ball. A ball was going on, of zombies. Zombies were in there dancing. Cool. I mean, why not? Obviously, Homer went up to one of them, pulled on their sleeve, and asked, "Hey, can you help us? Where are we?" And roll for initiative. All of a sudden, we were attacked at first by just that pair of zombies. The other zombies just kept dancing. But as they got closer, they got engaged as well. I'd call it a massacre, but they were already dead. Then we checked the barn. On the floor, we found a huge drawing with runes on it. I believe it was 4 runes. So we wrote those runes down, and we did remember what we found in one of the houses. In one of the houses we found a tablet with a bunch of runes on it. We went back to that house, and I don't remember how we figured it out, but we ended up lighting one of the runes with the spell light. One of the runes that was also on the floor. And then we went back. That rune was glowing. So then we talked a little, we tried a bunch of stuff, and then we figured out that there had to be other houses with more of those tablets, where we had to light up those 4 different runes in different houses. We found those other tablets. We lit one of them with light, and the others there were 3 of us, so we just spread out to the other houses and used a torch. Before we could do that, roll for initiative. Yeah, I was attacked by a bat. Now, the other 2 ended up killing their beasts. I myself, if I remember correctly, didn't quite manage it. So I called for help. They came to help me kill it. And then we tried again. We lighted up the runes, and then we went back to the barn. There was like a portal, which we went through, and it got us out. When we woke up again, we were in a sort of tavern. I don't quite remember the name, but it was basically an escape room. A sort of magical, interdimensional escape room, which I think is a pretty brilliant idea. Yeah, our characters then went to grab a drink, and Homer immediately went to work to write a sort of victory song about these warriors 3, which to this day I'm convinced I might just actually write at some point. Let me know down below if you want to see that, because there's a good chance I'm gonna do that. So yeah, that's the story of my first game of Dungeons and Dragons. I'll probably do more of these episodes of Tales from the Dungeon, so stay tuned. There's more coming. That brings me seamlessly to the end of the video. Time for the YouTube thing. Comment, like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, go to my Twitter, go to my Goodreads, all of that. You know the drill. Thanks for watching.